Corey Milgov, I continue chatting Shaw, to Scafton Moore and Shaw, agus I'm sure Bragg and Foyle. Just like to thank you all coming here today, lovely day that it's in it. This is the 20th anniversary of the volunteers, Frank Ryan and Patricia Black, who were killed in action in England 20 years ago this month. Just now I have a laying of the wreaths, and the wreaths are going to be laid on behalf of Éirígí's Kurt and Nashuda. And also from Éirígí Belfast. And a wreath from the 1916 societies. If anybody's any flowers or wreaths, you're more welcome to lay on here. I'd just like to introduce here the main speaker here today, Louise Minahan from Dublin, from Ballyfermot. She's an Éirígí councillor in Dublin City Council, so a big Éirígí bus for Louise Minahan to go.
It's a great honour and a privilege to be asked to speak here today in Belfast to commemorate volunteer Patricia Black and volunteer Frank Ryan. We have gathered here in this historic spot to remember these brave volunteers of pride. We gather to remember their inspirational lives and to rededicate ourselves to the cause for which they died, the cause of Irish national liberation. Volunteer Patricia Black was born in Belfast on the 28th November 1972, the second eldest in a family of four. Grown up in the occupied 6 counties at the height of the war, like many men and women of her generation, Patricia took the courageous step and joined the Belfast Brigade of the IRA when she was just 18 years old. Despite her young age, she quickly earned the respect and admiration of her comrades, who it is said was inspired by her determination and dedication. Her work as a volunteer at this time included gathering intelligence and a full-time and active involvement in operations. Patricia's commitment and dedication as a Republican is shown by the fact that she hid her involvement in the IRA from all around her, including other active IRA volunteers she would have known. Volunteer Frank Ryan was born in Harrow, Essex in England to Irish parents on the 23rd of October 1966. The eldest in a family of 3, Frank was educated in England and spent the greater part of his life there. However, he developed an understanding of Ireland and was committed to fighting to end British rule. In 1985, Frank Ryan moved to Ireland and shortly after joined the IRA. He immediately earned the respect and admiration of his comrades for his enthusiasm and dedication as a volunteer. A very security-conscious volunteer, his family and friends only learned of his involvement in the IRA after his death. Volunteer Patricia Black and volunteer Frank Ryan were killed side by side in an accidental explosion while in active service in England on the 15th of November 1991. These young volunteers had the courage and commitment in their beliefs to take the struggle to the belly of the beast and confront British imperialism on its own soil. Such courage is an inspiration to Irish Republicans today, and a reminder of the sacrifices we have and will continue to pay on the road to freedom. 20 years after the deaths of these brave volunteers, Britain continues its illegal occupation of 6 Irish counties and maintains that occupation by force of arms. Today, Britain's garrison in Ireland is made up of 9,000 paramilitary police, 5,000 full combat troops and hundreds of MI5 spies. Yet we are told that this is a normal society. Crown forces harass the Republican and nationalist community on a daily basis, using threats, intimidation and physical brutality in an attempt to silence all opposition to Britain's presence here in Ireland. But we have a simple message for them. Britain's thugs will not intimidate Republicans, and our message cannot be silenced. Your attempts at repression only strengthen our resolve, and in the words of James Connolly, we defy you, do your worst. 20 years ago, when volunteers Black and Ryan gave their lives, the war for national liberation was at its height, and the Republican movement was in a position where it could have led the working class to power in an Irish socialist republic. Britain realised this and strengthens its role by convincing a constitutional nationalist element in the leadership of the Republican movement to join the British administration in Ireland and administer rule on their behalf. This led republicanism to a historic yet avoidable defeat, and once again British rule in Ireland was modernised and copper-fastened for another generation. James Connolly summed it up best when he wrote in 1914, "Yes, ruling by fooling is a great British art with great Irish fools to practice on." But all is not being lost, and once again republicanism is re-emerging to challenge the British occupation. Many lessons have been learned in the last 20 years, and particularly since the surrender in 1998. Despite these setbacks, a vibrant militant republican movement is in the process of being rebuilt by a new generation who have declared their aim an Irish Socialist Republic. Republicanism is back to Connolly, and Socialist Republican has emerged as a leading force to challenge British rule. The war for national liberation is the class war. It's the job of each and every one of us in this graveyard here today to do everything we can to help with rebuilding of the Republican struggle to a point where it can be successfully concluded. As Bobby Sands said, everyone, Republican or otherwise, has a part to play. No part is too big or too small. We must work in our communities right across Ireland to convince as many as we can as the relevance of the Socialist Republican message, and to convince people to become involved with our project. We should take our inspiration in this task from the words of the great Scottish Socialist Republican John McLean. I appeal to all comrades to be up and doing. Those of you who have lapsed, return. Those who have lost heart, cheer up. Those who have heart, pull in the indifferent and stimulate dormant or defunct branches. Many challenges face Republicans in the Ireland of today. Our sovereignty is being denied here in the north by British imperialists and EU IMF colonists in the 26 counties. Republicanism must be to the fore in challenging those who will deny our sovereignty. Socialist republicanism represents the best vehicle to lead the people's fight back and resistance to oppression of Britain and international imperialism. And by building political strengths in our community, we can take this struggle forward to victory. This year also marks the 30th anniversary of the 1981 hunger strike, when 10 brave volunteers gave their lives, refusing to allow our struggle to be criminalised. Their courage remains a shining inspiration to today's generation of Irish Republicans and to millions of people around the world. Sadly today, Britain continues its futile attempts to label the Republican struggle as criminal. As we gather today, Republican prisoners in Maghaberry are on protest against this inhumane regime. Isolation, vicious assaults and degrading and violent strip searches are once again the daily routine of Republican prisoners in British jails in Ireland. Men and women who would not be in jail but for the British occupation find themselves with no option left but to go on prison protest as their only form of resistance to this latest criminalisation policy. And no case highlights British injustice in Ireland more so at the present time than the case of Marion Price, a 57-year-old veteran Republican who has been held in solitary confinement in an all-male prison for the last 6 months. And I would like to send our solidarity to the Republican prisoners in Maghaberry and call for the immediate release of Marion Price and the immediate implementation of the 2010 August Agreement. Encouraging. Today we have rededicated ourselves to fighting for Irish national liberation, the aim of volunteer Patricia Black and volunteer Frank Ryan. As we leave here today, we do so with a specific purpose. Our task is the rebuilding of a militant Republican movement, and nothing can deter us from this work. This generation of Irish Republicans will not be a generation that stands idly by. In the words of Maura Drum, we must take no steps backwards, our steps must be onwards, for if we don't, the martyrs that died for you, for me, for this country will haunt us together forever. Farewell.